It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and where else would I be but here with you? DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy USA, and tonight we are going to be talking about the fact that you are not responsible for your child's happiness, at least not that they're happy all the time. Hi, Raylene. So I have learned some really big lessons in my years of teaching and raising my own 5 children. And when I figured out the answer to this one thing, it opened the door to all kinds of opportunities and just solved a lot of problems. I was less stressed out. And then my children and my students have become far more happy when I realized it wasn't my deal, right? So before we get started, I want to say hey to my follower of the week, who is a guy named Nephi Walsh. Now, I actually knew Nephi when I was raising my kids in Las Vegas, and I was friends with his mom. And he is now all grown up, and he's got a family of his own, and he found Little Hearts Academy, and we've been able to reconnect. So anyway, it's just been really fun seeing his name show up, that he's been listening and reconnecting with him, and so I appreciate his attendance. So just be sure to leave a comment, whether you're listening live or whether you're listening on the replay, but you just may be a future follower of the week. So we'd love to honor you and your efforts with kids. So let's get on to our main topic. We all want our children to be happy, right? And it's fun to get them something they really want, or go do something really cool with them, and just to see them light up with excitement. And they have the most popular toys, and their friends want to come over to your house because you have the cool house. And you know, it's just fun to see the delight of their friends when they see all the good toys your kids have, and they're enjoying and having fun and playing. And so why do we do this? Well, I think we want our children to have it better than we did, correct? And we probably want them to have some of the fun that we may have missed or felt we missed out on as we were growing up. And so we want to enable them to have some of those important fun experiences that that we might have not had. We want them to just adore us, right? We want them to think we're cool. And so I want you to stop and think about, how do you feel? What are the feelings that are going through you when you are purchasing something for your child that your child really wants? How does that make you feel? So actually, when we do that, there's a release. So there are 4 hormones that make us happy and joyful, and they can actually be a little addictive at times. But when we buy them those things and we see them light up, and we're anticipating the joy when they see us come in the door with this really cool toy, or they're opening it up on their birthday or Christmas or whatever, graduation, that those hormones start kicking off, and we actually do feel happier. So there's no wrong in that, right? But do they always need to be happy? No. In fact, it's good for them if they have to deal with being unhappy from time to time. Should they ever have to deal with disappointment? Of course, yeah, of course. We all deal with disappointment in life, and if we don't provide opportunities for our children to learn how to manage that well, they're going to have very difficult adulthoods. And so we really want to think about, what are we giving our kids, and what are we doing for them? We have found that children who have people who are constantly adjusting their schedules for them and getting them whatever they need, and we will sacrifice greatly often to have that happen, they actually wind up just taking people and things for granted. They're not very grateful, and they become mean and selfish and difficult. And this, in the end, actually makes them very unhappy. And so we're setting them up to do the exact opposite of what we are trying to provide for them. So think about that. So there are several studies out there that have been done, and they looked at children of families that came from families that had, they were wealthy families, and everything's given to the child. They get a brand new beautiful car on their 16th birthday. They are going on these amazing trips. They have all of the best tech and all of the good stuff, food and shelter is not an issue. They have the coolest clothes, very expensive, very nice clothes that their parents can afford to give them. And then they looked at children who came from families of poverty, where sometimes the kids wound up having to go to work and giving the money that they earned to help provide for food and for paying the rent and all of those household things. What they have found in all of the studies that I looked at was that the kids who came from the family where they had everything they wanted, they had all the lessons and all of the, great opportunities. They went on all the school trips, all that kind of stuff. They actually had less familial loyalty than the kids who grew up in poverty. And so that's something really interesting to think about. They didn't stay loyal to their parents. They're the ones who were most likely to pull away, to have them not have a real relationship with grandparents and with siblings and whatever. They just, they just don't connect, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Where the kids who came from poverty situations, and now this isn't a 100%, this happens all the time, but we're just talking about majority, but the difference was quite significant of children who stayed loyal to their families, were very strongly defensive of their parents or a parent, if there was only one raising them, that as adults, they were stronger with their siblings. And so, it makes me wonder, so what are we accomplishing with giving our kids all of this stuff? So a few years ago, I was working, and we had, a little playground outside our classroom, and there was a little girl, and, she was kind of the boss of the kids and would boss things around, and she was everyone kind of listened to her. And she's like, you're doing this, you're doing that. And so we kind of had to work with the class on being independent thinkers and all of that. Well, one day it was her dad that picked her up after school. And Dad said, basically, babe, I'm in a big hurry. I'm late. We need to hustle. Can you get your coat on quickly? And she looked at her dad and said, well, I want to play on the playground. Honey, we can't. We don't have time. I'm already late. We need to go. And she started doing her little pout, and then she started to cry and do all of those things. And in the end, Dad said, 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes on the playground. And I'm watching this happen, And the playground was right outside the window of my classroom. And it was over 15 minutes that she played before they left. And so Dad was you could see the stress on Dad's face. That just isn't really a good thing, right? But she controlled, and she knew how to control. So the other extreme, we can get to an extreme of violence, actually, when they don't get what they want. And I've actually had kids in my classroom that just over a marker, they didn't get the marker they wanted, and would literally take a sharpened pencil and stab a child that had the marker they want, because the kid said, I'm not done yet. Well, I want it now. Well, I'm not done yet. And man, so quickly. So, we had to kind of keep an eye on those guys that would do that. But that's a very extreme case. But let's think about, are we enabling our children to manage to have that social etiquette of knowing, I can wait, I can use something different, I can ask someone else, Or I mean, what are we giving our kids in their ability to manage disappointment if they're never disappointed? If, they want that control. And it makes it really hard for, like, if you've got to get out the door, it's time, you're going to be late for work. And if you have a child, now little teeny guys aren't going to notice this so much. But once they hit like 3, 4, 5, they start understanding that they hold a lot of power in controlling the situation if they just drag their feet. So how can we help them? There is a expert who, she wrote the book, When Your Kids Push Your Buttons and What You Can Do About It. And her name is Bonnie Harris. And she says some really interesting things. But she said, and I'll read this as a quote, if we put our kids in a bubble and grant them their every wish and desire, that is what they grow to expect. But the real world doesn't work that way, does it? So how are they going to manage as they get older into junior high, high school, and as adults? How is that going to work for them in a marriage or in their own parenting? Are they going to be able to put aside their own desires for the needs of a child? And I've seen families, I've worked with families that have had to kind of overcome that selfishness of a parent or both parents, and their kids are struggling. And so also, oftentimes we are just so used to coddling our kids, right? And just seeing that smile or we just don't want to deal with the anger. We don't want to deal with that temper tantrum. So just give them what they want, they'll shut up. Correct? And so oftentimes it all happens so fast that we don't even recognize it when it's happening. And it just eventually, very quickly actually, not eventually, it becomes second nature to us. And so when we feel that we are responsible for all of our child's emotions, that we actually make it hard for them to experience things like anger, sadness, and frustration. But they need to know how to manage that. And what happens if you never practice something? Well, I want to play the piano, but I'm never going to practice, right? Yeah, you're never going to play the piano, correct? All right, and so there's a ton of things that you can do with that. And then if we become that helicopter parent who believes that all of their child's problems, they're caused by others, and you're going to swoop in and, if someone they're trying to negotiate working on a slide or playing with a toy or whatever it is, and you just swoop in and handle it and make sure your child gets what they want, then you're really setting them up, and they actually become prisoners of their own emotions because they never learn to manage them. And I know that that's not what we want for our kids. So as parents, once we understand that we are not responsible for their every emotion, that you don't have to fix their emotions, fix their anger, fix their temper tantrum, fix their sadness, whatever, but give them opportunities to learn and grow, and then they're able to manage those feelings. And so it's so important for their long-term happiness that they actually become very capable at this. They're able to identify their emotion and understand what they need to do. So sometimes if they're very, very angry, okay, I need to calm down. And don't we use that? I hope we do. Sorry, I was getting uncomfortable. I hope that we use some of those tools that things are really hard, and you find yourself just taking a deep breath. Or maybe you just take a second and you find yourself, you do it almost naturally, just kind of looking out the window and looking at the trees, flowers, whatever it is, right? Maybe we need to escape and go read for a minute or meditate for a second I when I was raising the 4 little kids, and Noelle came along much later, but I had these 4 little kids, and my husband was working very long hours so that I could be a stay-at-home mom with these guys, and it just got so overwhelming for me sometimes. I would find myself in the middle of my walk-in closet, and those clothes were very nice, and this muffled sound, and I could just sit on the floor, close my eyes, and breathe. And eventually kids figured out my secret, because sometimes I would see all these little fingers kind of under the door pushing in. Mommy, are you there? So they had me figure out, yes, I'll be out in a minute. Just stay there. I'm fine. You're fine. But I needed that moment to put myself together and then go out and meet the needs of 4 very energetic and enthusiastic children. So we need to set that up, and so that they see us setting the example of, I'm trying to calm down. So one of the things that I've tried to do with my classes and teaching is, and when you get a lot of kids in there, you know, sometimes I'd have as many as 28 kids, and it's just me and the kids, you know, and so I found myself, instead of yelling, getting actually more quiet and using a softer voice, and I found that the room would quiet down. They would hear me talking, they would see me saying something to certain kids, they would see something fun happening over at the carpet or whatever it is, and they'd want to get in on it, and so they would quietly come and sit. Now, did that happen the first day? Nope. But it was, and two, it's something I needed to teach myself, and that's something that the kids needed to learn about me. But it was hysterical for me one time. I had this great kindergarten class. Love these kids. And I had this one girl. The class was getting really noisy. We needed to finish up an activity. I had done their little attention. We had little chimes that I'd ring to give them their 5-minute notice, and then it's time to clean up and blah, blah, blah. And so some of the kids came and they sat on the carpet. They'd finished what they needed to do. And but a lot of the kids were not doing things as quickly as they needed to. And so I just started getting quieter and quieter. And I was telling them a story, you know, I don't know, some kind of story for literacy. But I was being really quiet. And then one of the little girls shouted, "Hey, you guys, she's really quiet. She's very angry." And I had to laugh. She's so quiet. She must be really mad. I thought that was hysterical. And I actually made me feel good, because I felt like I was accomplishing what I had planned. What I wanted to accomplish was working, and so that made me feel good. So when kids are not able to manage their emotions, and they have to be coddled and spoiled constantly, "But I want this." Okay, I know you want it. You know, you might need to come up with a plan, or that maybe the answer is just flat no, it's something you don't want them to have, right? And they're going to get mad, and they're going to be disappointed about it. And so you need to help them through that emotion and identify it. But if they don't learn how to manage the skill of managing these, they are going to struggle with so many problems that they're not going to be able to move forward on their own dreams, on their own, you know, figuring out a solution to their own problems. And they're going to have also a really hard time learning from their mistakes. And so you'll see them making the same mistake over and over again. And yet it's everybody's fault that so-and-so didn't do this, and so-and-so isn't helping me with that. And, you know, and instead of saying, okay, and maybe it is someone else's fault, but you can't control them. You can only control you. And so then you're going to teach them how to understand, is this something that I need to take on? Is it that important? Or is it something that I just need to let go and say, yeah, okay, it's not going to get done. So, but these are the things that we're trying to teach our kids. Another thing is that when we are so concerned with our children's happiness that it's taking every moment, we have a hard time dealing with our own and finding our own happiness. And the truth is, happy parents tend to raise happier kids. It's an interesting thing. And so when we aren't too ruffled when things aren't working out, and we're able to make adjustments, and we're setting a strong example for our kids, and they see that, yeah, things are hard, but I can be happy, I can find something to be joyful about, then they're going to be able to start picking up on that. And so I have found that I went through a really rough time. It was after we had adopted my youngest, and things were hard on all kinds of levels. And some of them were things that I could have done better. Some of them were things that were not my fault. Some of them were things that I had no idea how to deal with this situation. It was totally new to me. I had no background in managing it, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I was just really fighting a depression and being down. And I had a friend who said, you know what you need to do is just keep a diary. And you just write down all these feelings so that you can figure them out, look at them, And I thought, okay, I might have told this story before, but I went and got a black notebook to write my sad, angry feelings in. And I was writing and writing and writing in the evening. And I found that my emotions were not improving. They were getting worse. And it was just rough for me. And finally I decided this is not helping. So I tore out all the pages that had the negative feelings. I just ripped them out, and I started writing. I had to write at least one kindness or goodness or something that I was thankful for every day. And it's funny that I go back and look at it, and my first entry was something that the one person that was causing the most disruption in my life and making me second guess myself, it was a kindness that person had shown me that day. And to realize, instead of focusing on all the bad things that were going on with this person, that there were good things and that there were positive things. And so every night I would write down, and maybe it was something that, my husband did, or maybe my sister, or one of my kids, or a neighbor. Sometimes it was just being thankful for something that the Lord had given me, and looking and seeing His hand in my life, and because I was looking for positive things, I found that I found them, that they existed, and that they were plentiful, actually, way more plentiful than I ever had realized. And then I'll tell you that one day, it's just been a horrible, rotten day. Hey, Julie. It's just been one of those terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days, to quote the book. And I sat there and I thought, I have nothing to write about. It's nothing good's been happening today. And so I'm sitting there thinking, and the thought, a voice came into my head that simply said, how dare you? Kind of shocked me. And then I got thinking, I have a roof over my head. I have a car that gets me to work. I have a job that I enjoy. I'm healthy. I'm not real sick. I've got a dog that I love. I have clothes in the closet. There's food in the pantry. How dare I? And some days I realized I needed maybe to just get down to the very basic things, right? I have shoes. I am grateful. I have earrings. I am grateful, right? Sometimes you have days where that's the thing. But sometimes realizing that you can be grateful for those very, very basic things. Bring something to you. Now, can you do this with your kids? Of course you can. You can make this part of your daily routine, whether it's at dinner, maybe as you tuck them into bed at night. What was your best thing today? And have that conversation with them and help them to see the good that is all around them, because there is good. Even in tough, tight situations, there are good things to be happy for. So, I've also said this before, one of the best things that you can do for your child's happiness, if you have a spouse, is to nurture your relationship with your spouse. That children who come from happy, strong, supportive relationships between parents or the adults in their life, whatever, they tend to make better decisions about their own relationships. They tend to be happy. They're not coming home and worried about, are they fighting today? Am I going to get hit today? They're not worried about, what words are going to be said. They know that when they come home, it's a place of love. And if you can produce that, and if it's tough, I get it. I get it. I've been married for decades, I know. And not all of those days, not all of those years have been good. We've had some really rough times. And they've been hard to work through. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm just going to be happy. No. It takes work to work on your head, to work on your spirit, to work even on your muscles that tense up when something is said or something is done, and you just, all of those things are things to work on in that relationship. So another thing that happens is, again, several studies, and they show a strong link between self-esteem and happiness. Now, I don't mean conceitedness, I don't think feelings of grandeur are the same as self-esteem. Self-esteem is understanding what I can do, and then that I'm capable of doing more if I try. That's pretty much it. So that constant unearned praise, oh, you're amazing, oh, you're going to be a pro football player, oh, you're my concert pianist, you're so amazing, and they're barely doing, 3 Blind Mice, right? And so that when they get praise that they haven't earned, they realize that. And they realize that your praise really isn't worth a lot. And it doesn't help them with their self-esteem at all. In fact, it can hurt their self-esteem greatly. They're not a Picasso because they were able to scribble. They're not the next Becker if they score a goal, right? I've had parents come in with our pre-kindergarten visit, and they've said, oh, hey, Carolyn, my child, they know their ABCs. And yet I go in to test them, and they can't identify a single letter. They can sing the song, ABCs, but that's a song. That's not knowing their letters and their numbers. But this kid thinks, I've got it all. I'm ready, and sometimes they are, thanks, Carolyn, and sometimes they are hard to teach because I'm the smartest thing alive. Well, you can't count past 3. So we're working on it, right? And so we don't want to overdo it. We don't want our kids to think also that they need to achieve to earn our praise. Oh, our team won, we're the best. Or is it more important that it's their effort? I saw you really try, and I see some room, but man, you were better. You got this that you didn't get last game. Or wow, you got 3 more problems correct than you did last time. That's great. So we're moving on, we're getting, and we're identifying. But we don't want them to identify that their value as a human being, as a member of your family, is based on how smart they are, is based on how athletic they are, or, oh, she's so pretty. You're hurting them. You're hurting them if you do that. So what we need to do is praise them for when they make a strong effort, when they're creative, when you notice that they're kind, when you see them solving a problem, and you're going to say, wow, I really love the way that you solved that problem. I had no idea you were that creative and could think of such things, and then talk about it in that way. So instead of saying after a successful game, oh, I think you're the best kid on the team, you might say instead, wow, you really did a great job, even if they are the best kid on the team. But, that gets that ego going too much. But you can say, you did a really great job, and I can see that you have been working hard. All that practice is paying off, or something like that, that is specific about the job they did. And so there's a child psychiatrist. His name is Edward Hallowell. And part of his thing is he says, mastery, not praise, is the real self-esteem builder. So giving our kids a chance to try new things, to try difficult things, and when they accomplish a task that was hard to do, that's what's going to build their self-esteem. So we want to give them a chance to try something new, and a challenge that's going to take more than an afternoon to master. It might take a few days, it might take a week or months, but we're going to keep trying at it, and we're going to notice the progress that they're making as they go. It's okay to stand back and let them fail and see what they think. And if their Lego thing falls down or something, don't rush in to try and fix it. Wow, that didn't work. Do you have another plan? And listen to them talk and say, that might work. Let's give it a try, and let them fail. If it takes longer, then you're going to need to plan for extra time, such as if they want to put their own clothes on, if they want to, I put my shoe on, they get very upset about that. Okay, they're at that stage. I know that. So I need to plan so that we have extra time that they can do that, and I'm not rushing them out the door and doing it for them. Kindergarten teachers don't need kids who can't come in and put on their own coat or put on, I understand if they can't tie their shoe, but they should be able to put that shoe on, and then the teacher can tie it. That's okay. But, you want to think about that. So whether it's just putting that shirt on and getting dressed, or maybe they want to try and climb a tree. Okay, let's give it a try. How do you think you're going to do that? Instead of saying, hey, Ryan, wow, it's good to see you. Instead of saying, oh, no, that's too dangerous. Oh, you're too small. You can't do it. Say, wow, that's a great idea. How are you going to do that? And you've got to pick me up to the first branch. Okay, and then what? And let them work it through. That's what's going to build their self-esteem. So let's give them an opportunity to try new things. Don't jump in when they struggle, and let them just go, right? Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about is how gratitude leads to happiness. And so again, make it part of your routine to talk to your children daily about things. Maybe someone was kind to you. Maybe someone got something for you. Maybe you fell on your bike and a neighbor came over and helped you get it, to the door. What are some things that you can be grateful for? And, talk is nice. Talk is words. One of the things I always tell my kids is words are nice. Actions are better. So if you say you're sorry, that's nice. But then you have to follow that up with, I won't hit you anymore. And then you don't hit them anymore, right? So come up with some ways to show gratitude, whether it's drawing a picture and then you write down their words that they say, and then they can take it to grandma and grandpa or to the friend or to whatever. And so they are in the act of showing gratitude is more than just words. And sometimes they're not even words that they've said to a friend. Oh, yeah, I was really happy so-and-so did that. Well, did you tell them that? Right? We want them to tell them that and move on. So anyway, let's keep going. So actually there's so much more, and I'm actually running out of juice on my cell phone, so that's okay. But we covered this and so much more in a program that I have called Cicerone Masters. And this is a master program for parents who are really looking for answers in a community connect. It's a year-long program, and you can find out more about that on our website. But if you want to learn more and want to get more involved, There's some group coaching that takes place, and so that's something that you can find out on our website, www.littleheartsacademyusa.com. And there's all kinds of things. There's things that are for free, and I'll note them on the website. So when you click on it, you know if this is a paid program or if this is a free program. And so that should help you out. But sign up for our newsletter at least at our website. Or, you can always just message me. You can make a comment. And I am more than happy to work with some of our families. Now, real quickly, I just want to tell you I'm so excited that we have on July 19th, I am launching my new podcast. It'll be on Apple and Spotify and Google, on Google Podcasts. And so it's called Imperfect Heroes, Insights into Parenting. Because nobody's perfect. We're all just trying our best, and that's great. That's wonderful, but we want to help you continue to try your best. And we're going to be talking about everything under the sun with parenting young kids about ages 8 and under. So we know that summer is the biggest time for families to make a move. And school is out, and your kids now can begin a year with a new experience, a new school. But, there's more than just packing everybody up and leaving. And so next Tuesday, I am going to be talking with you about some strategies to help prepare your children when a move is in the works. And this could be just a move across town or a move across country. It doesn't matter. There are some key things that you need to do to help your children manage with that move on their own. So again, you can always, please share this live. Share it on your feed. We'd love to get some more folks in on this and to join the conversation. And I'm always available. You can get me on Facebook here. I am also on Instagram under Little Hearts Academy USA. And then, of course, my email is djstutz@littleheartsacademyusa.com. And I'm always welcome and excited. And if you get anything back, it's because I wrote it, not because I had someone else write it for me. I answer all of your emails and your comments personally, and I love doing that. It just makes my day. So, with all that being said, I hope we can make some plans for the future, and I hope that we can realize that we want our kids generally to be happy, but they don't need to be happy all the time. And we just want to make sure that their happiness is real and concrete and not flighting. So I look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And until then, let's teach together. Bye-bye.